available. I know a lot of big producers watch this show, so
There's a few, maybe not that big. But I mean, you had some great, this is a monster movie show, and we want to remind the audience you were in Tales from the Dark Side, the movie.
I was, and also I'm a huge fan of Ghidra, the hideous three-headed monster.
You're going to speak to a lot of our fans out there. That's one of the favorites on the Crimson Theater. Yeah,
it's the best. It's the best. When Rodan and Godzilla have to team up to fight Ghidra, it's probably one of the most thrilling moments in
cinematic history. Well, that's definitely the horror show fans will like that.
Yeah, and Behemoth is pretty good too.
Oh, the giant behemoth.
Behemoth.
And every now and then we actually perform Frankenstein, our song.
Oh well, now was that one inspired by the monster or by something else?
Mainly a lover
Okay.
who was a Frankenstein.
Aren't they all?
No, sometimes they could, I don't know, they could be the Wolfman.
Yeah, well, it depends. I mean, they're one of those hippie types that don't shave.
Oh, yes, it's true. True. I like those hairy chests sometimes.
Okay. That's real good.
It's legal in New York now.
What is hairy chest?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it was.
Hairy chest only on monkeys though in New York.
Okay.
So you see a hairy chest, that guy's a monkey.
So is there going to be another new New York Dolls album?
I hope so. If we survive this tour, we'll probably make another one.
Awesome. Got to keep going. It's great to have you guys here.
Thank you.
It's awesome. And I just have to say, you buy a record when you're a kid, and you're still playing that record now.
Yeah.
And, it's just the gift that keeps on giving. And I just like to thank both of you for the years of music and entertainment. I mean, so many have gotten tired on my year anyway, but not you guys.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Doc.
Thank you. Everybody I know hears me talk about you guys all the time. On the Crimson Theater, too. So.
Well, that's great.
And now they know you like Ghidra, too. So
Well, for me to be up here on the Crimson Theater is kind of like a dream come true, a lifetime dream come true. So I want to thank you for felicitating this event.
Well, thanks, I guess, unless you have any final thoughts for my loyal night children, the ghoulies out there, one last thing to tell them.
Well, monsters are scary, but that doesn't mean that you can't get a good night's sleep.
Bringing horror host Mephisto back on Crimson Theater in makeup after 30 years. He, of course, was the famous Madison horror host. So the big ghoulies, and here we are for a very, very special YouTube broadcast of Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater with our very special guest, not seen, by the way, in 30 years, the one and only Mephisto. How you doing tonight?
When you yell like that, when we start, you frighten me.
Am I
It's
scaring you?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
a little bit.
him.
And I'm older now,
I
and I'm
know.
not, and the old ticker just might. No, yeah, never mind.
Anyway, it's a pleasure to have you here, and we're doing a very special YouTube broadcast. Are you having fun?
I didn't come here to whine. So
Okay.
I'm just not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to complain and just sit here and whine like a big sissy. I'm not going to do it.
All right. Well, don't do those things.
No.
You
Okay.
should be happy you're here amongst. Well, we've got some great lineup behind us.
If I was any
Haven't
happier,
seen Wolfgang in a
if
while.
I was any happier, it would be daylight.
Oh wow, that's how late I stay up sometimes. It's
Yes,
daylight.
I've tried that, but
It's hard to do nowadays,
usually
isn't it?
Get
It
arrested
is.
for vagrancy. That's the problem.
I know. But then now
Anyway, what? Hello.
Oh, I don't know. I was going to ask you. Are you
Yes.
going to go see the new Dark Shadows movie when it comes out?
You bet I am. I'm going to see that one because I want to see. It looks to me like he lives very much in a place like sort of what I used to live in, except he was obviously the boss of his place.
Oh well,
Oh.
yes, he commanded the place.
Yes,
that's
he
for sure.
did.
Oh yes.
And I never. Well, I thought-
Unfortunately, this week we learned that Jonathan Frid passed on.
Yeah, isn't that
Barnabas
something?
has left the building.
That's awful.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes,
that's
it
just
is. It's sad.
It's very sad.
bad timing.
Very sad.
Yeah, well, and the new movies that are coming out and everything, and lots of controversy. I know I myself am completely upset. I found out just the other day through the grapevine that the new Tim Burton film animated feature due out in October called Frankenweenie is going to be a comedy.
Comedy.
I don't know how they could have done this.
Sacrilege.
I don't know what's
Yeah.
wrong with people.
Awful. It's just
How
awful.
dare they? The audacity.
How could you even think of something
It's
so
shameful. What was that?
just profoundly not nice?
Turtles tooting.
Oh, yes, that's. Oh, he's a gassy old turtle, isn't he?
Sure is.
They used to say that about me back in the old
Should
days.
make a giant pot of soup out
That's,
of
I'm telling you, that guy. He's getting out of control over here.
Weather changer.
But I'm making a joke because everybody's upset that the new Dark Shadows movie is going to be a comedy, I guess.
Yeah, it looks like it. I'm not. Well, they got a good cast in it.
Well,
Johnny Depp. Pretty-
so far I'm liking what I see. Looks like it'll be
Yeah.
fun. Of course, how they could, they're dealing with such a serious subject as a family that has witches, vampires, werewolves, crooks, and mad scientists and all these things.
Lot of pluses.
How could they make a comedy out of such serious stuff like that?
Well, this is one of these things where you have to see it and then judge it, which I fully intend to do. If
That's
I can
what they all say.
find some door to sneak in the theater and
But
get in
now,
free.
Mephisto, your
Yeah.
first appearance in 30 years. Why don't you tell us about a little bit of the fun of the golden years of Lenny's Inferno?
Boy, I don't. Well, we were talking a little earlier about some of the crazy things that used to happen. First of all, I gotta say, and I say this seriously, the voice in the box, who was a very good friend of mine, is no longer with us, and I miss him dearly. And let me tell you, he should be here. He really should be here. He would lift whatever I'm doing to another level just by his presence and being part of this. And I have to say that, I really do, because I've never had the opportunity to say that before. He hasn't been gone that long, but I truly miss him. He was he was a very good friend of mine and one of the most talented people I ever met. Now, having said that, as far as the voice in the box in reality is concerned, my reality,
Well put.
Thank you.
put.
Yes, very good, very good. Now I have to want to recap. You were inducted into the Horror Host Hall of Fame at Horror Hound Weekend in Columbus, Ohio. And how did that work out for you?
isn't that something? I mean, in a million years, I never would have seen that. Well, actually, what I did was I was in disguise. I made myself up to look exactly like an ordinary person, and nobody knew who I really was.
That's the way to do it.
But I gotta say this, and you reminded me of it when we came in here. In lieu of, I guess, the little thing you're supposed to get, because those hadn't been finished on time or whatever, they gave us little certificate type things, and they were really nice. They really were. But they misspelled my name.
Oh, that's the kind of thing that happens to the
I'll tell you, I didn't know how to react to that, but the more I thought about it, I almost felt homesick. That was something that some of the old people that I truly miss, Beauregard, Charlene Mumford, what was it? Oh, yeah, and it was in the frame upside down, too. That was kind of nifty.
Oh, it was upside down in the
I
frame.
forgot about that.
Good going, Big Night.
But I was, and I said,
It's the thought that counts.
well,
Yeah.
the thing is that they had me pegged from what I remember. That was something they would have done to me on the show. So I felt it made me feel comfortably at home.
Well, you'd be surprised the abuse you can get from your
yeah.
help on a horror host show.
It's incredible. Every time you think they couldn't do anything more to you,
Oh, yeah,
another
they'll come up
height
with
is
something.
reached.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, we needed the white balance earlier. That's all right. Yeah, it's good to see you again, Wolfgang.
Yeah, your
Wolfgang's
jokes
here.
Your jokes smell like this turtle next to me.
Wolfgang,
Yeah.
put it there.
Hey, pleasure to meet you.
Somebody that's polite. I am so at home here.
I don't know you yet. No.
Well,
Give him time.
Give
Yeah,
him
yeah,
time.
we give it about 10 minutes, and you'll probably be throwing things at me too.
That's right, eggs. No
Matter of
doubt.
fact, that wasn't you a little earlier over there with that skull that came this way.
no, these
No,
are
okay.
good talk.
Must have
who
been
could
somebody
that
that
have
looked
been?
exactly like you.
No, there's no one who looks this handsome.
Well, then
well,
it may-
you and Danny Love do have the same hairstyle.
You know, the ladies go crazy for the doctor. Send those bikini pictures!
They've been
No.
waiting for those bikini pictures.
Girls in bikinis!
Well, Maliva's gonna bust out her leather bikini next week for
Oh,
horror
she'll bust
party.
out
Beach.
of it, all right.
You bust me up all the time.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So great to you were inducted. And of course, I recognized you. I had to set up this riveting interview.
You did. You knew who I was, and that was kind of neat. You were the only one though. Well, Rich Peterson, who goes by another name.
Oh, he will be visiting us soon too.
He
I
was the
believe.
one who was responsible for having me inducted, and he knew who I was too. But I had known him in another. What's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember what it was. So never mind. I can't remember what it was, but he knew who I was. And I want to thank Rich, because without his help, I never would have had my name spelled wrong in a frame upside down. And I appreciate it.
That's
I
an
thought-
honor.
I thought it was until they told me.
I heard that you like that.
Well, they kept it. It's not an honor. It's not an honor. Yes, it is. Shut up.
The
Leave
funny
me alone.
thing is, your name is Joe Smith.
It was for a while there.
Joe, I had nothing to do with that.
First thing that came to my mind when they said, "What's your name, soldier?" And he was shining a flashlight in my face, and he had manacles and a big star on his uniform.
Whoa.
Joe the Smith. Well, they didn't buy it, so never mind. Anyway.
Anyway, now with all these new horror hosts coming up every day, left and right, you have got any words of advice for horror hosts everywhere out there in our viewing audience?
Get a day job.
If you do anything like the way we used to do it back 30 years ago, get insurance, and a lot of it.
Uh-huh.
You can't have enough health insurance. Don't even think about life insurance. They're going to give you any anyway.
No?
No, that's my advice. Be very careful, and be very careful who you associate with, because there are people that, like I said, it's how many times I was ground zero when the pie throwing started. They're out to get you. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're out to get you.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
yeah.
seems like it to me. Anyway.
You'll have a good time if you have a week to heal between shows.
That's about how it goes here. Anyway, we want to give a good shout out to TerrorDaves.com. That's the Terror Dave.
TerrorDaves.com! Was that a good shout out?
Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
very
very
good shout
good
out. I think they'll
shout-out.
like that. Because two Daves are better than one. And they do a good job with their weekly horror host report, which you've probably watching us on that report, and some pictures and whatnot. It's going to be a big update. They are eagerly waiting for the what happened today here on 4/20/12.
Oh, it's getting
I
smoky
wish I
in
knew
here.
what any of that meant.
Yeah, it's going to be.
That was just
We're approaching
wonderful.
420
Code.
at 420.
That's code, right? Because
I
I
don't
didn't
know some
understand
kind
a
of
word
code.
of it. But then it's a problem I have.
That's okay.
TerrorDaves.com!
Oh, see? Once you wind them up, you get them going. All right. I hope you enjoyed our little YouTube broadcast. There is an exciting episode of Crimson Theater starring Mephisto and, of course, his alter ego in the upcoming, soon-to-be-released documentary, Cheesy Hosts from the Cheesy... Cheesy Hosts from the Cheesy State, the history of horror hosts in Wisconsin. That sounds good, doesn't it?
Got
It
it.
does.
If you say so, it sounds good to me.
Well, thank you. There'll be an extra 20 in the lunchbox next time you come on the show.
I can pay some dets. Get off my
If
back,
you can
you
pay debts
people.
as a horror host, you're doing pretty good.
You people.
All right, Ghoulies, check us out next time. This was sort of a collage of horror personalities, obscure actors. I even had Tom Laughlin, who did the legendary Billy Jack films, was on the Big Top radio broadcast. Gruesome ghouls and grisly ghosts, wretched souls and cursed hosts, vampires bite and full moons rise. Creatures haunt and terrorize. Blood runs cold in every man. Fog rolls in and coffins slam. The little green dragon, he sits on your doorstep. He eats little boys, puppy dog tails, big fat snails. Beware. Take care. Hold the strings! Hold the strings! You're watching Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater on Kenosha Channel 14. Aren't you lucky? video snippets for the companion piece, Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater, but most of the interviews have been conducted on the air. But I like to get in close and personal in video, and I'm not looking for the average interview. I'm looking for the more obscure artists that are out there that I grew up liking, and I don't feel they get the attention sometimes they should. Rob Zombie, probably one of the bigger stars, and probably one of the most straightforward interviews. Really took his time to talk about directing and whatnot. And I'm pretty proud of that. And I had somebody in high places pulling strings. Oh, that about explains Dr. Destruction's Big Top Radio broadcast. It was an over-the-air show. It was an internet radio. I don't have anything against that, but it was a big-time experience, the Big Top Radio broadcast, and it needs to return, Ghoulies.
I agree completely.
Well, thank you. It's hard to find a woman that agrees with me in this day and age. But that sums it up. Bring it back, Dr. Destruction's Big Top Radio broadcast.